Yeah.
Okay.
So
Let me see your
Okay, our light is now on hotspot, so the signal should be better, but still,
he's at 4100.
please let me know if you got any hits and repeat afterwards. Great.
check.
We've moved, as you know, the store from where you've had it for many years because we're starting construction of the ballroom. And Stuart's excited about it. I think everybody's excited about it. It's going to be amazing, actually. But that was where they had their store. So we had to move them out, and we're going to find them another location over there. But this is the store that recently opened. Stuart, would you like to say anything about the store?
Well, we're so excited to have the president here to look at the gift shop. And we have this wonderful People's House gallery, so that while the White House is closed for tours for this wonderful ballroom to be built, we have this 33,000 square foot experience open 7 days a week, free to the public. So until that's built and reopened, we're happy to welcome everyone here, and so honored and happy that you came over today.
And you do a great job. He's been here a long time, and we have a lot of things in common. We love the White House, right?
I love that, and history.
And we're doing some very detailed renovations, fixing things that are broken, fixing floors that are cracked up and not good anymore. And in many cases, they were done in the 50s and 60s and 70s. We're anywhere. All kinds. Study it to realize how incredible and complex it is. So we have a lot of fun. Environment of the White House. We're fixing up the whole world. We have great numbers that have polished and hasn't been grouted and hasn't been taken care of, and we're able to use most of it as opposed to taking it out. We're able to use it. You couldn't buy, actually it's marble that you couldn't buy. The slabs are so big, white beautiful slabs, you couldn't buy it today. And we're renovating it, and Kennedy Center within a year will be unbelievable. I think it's got tremendous, we're painting the columns a different color, you know, it's got a fake gold. If you're going to use gold, gold, you know about gold. I love the gold, but if you don't use 24 karat gold, it doesn't look good, and there's never been a paint that imitates it. So we're going to be painting the columns, probably a very good white, beautiful white. It'll look beautiful with the white marble behind it. The marble's all being renovated inside and out. So that's where I'm going right now. I have all the marble people with me, and we're going to do that with Kennedy Center. The interior of Kennedy Center is being totally done. The chairs are being replaced or renovated. The stages are being renovated fully. Very good stages, very good sound. They have great sound. We're lucky. Some opera houses, they spend a lot of time and money. If it doesn't have good sound, it's like you're born a certain way. If an opera house opens up and it doesn't have good sound, you never make it good. They try. They've tried. In New York, they had a problem, and they rip it apart every 5 years and try to make it good. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. This one, the Kennedy Center has phenomenal sound. It's one of the big advantages. So we're going to make that fantastic. We have a great board of close to 40 people, and they're in love with it. And we'll have that. I think within a year, the Kennedy Center will be finished. People being awarded Sylvester Stallone, which is very unusual because they don't do that, but they do it here. And we have just, you saw Michael Crawford's going to get an award. It is really going to be very exciting. I'm going to be hosting, not that I want to host, I don't want to host, but they've asked me very strongly to host, so I'll host it. Like I hosted The Apprentice years ago, and we'll do a good job. And we have the awards, I guess, on December something, early in December, we have the awards. Will be on CBS on television. So I just wanted to thank you. Do you have any questions or anything?
President Trump, you're going to fire Lisa Cook, the Fed governor, over her mortgage
I'll fire her
fraud?
if she doesn't resign, yeah. What she did was bad, so I'll fire her if she doesn't resign.
Mr. President, have you been briefed on the FBI raid of John Bolton's home?
No, I don't know about it. I saw it on television this morning. I'm not a fan of John Bolton. He's a real, sort of a lowlife. When I hired him, he served a good purpose because, as you know, he was one of the people that forced Bush to do the ridiculous bombings in the Middle East. Bolton, he wants to always kill people, and he's very bad at what he does. But he worked out great for me because every time he doesn't talk, he's like a very quiet person, except on television. If he could say something bad about Trump, he'll always do that. But he really doesn't talk. He's quiet. And I'd walk into a room with him with a foreign country, and the foreign country would give me everything because they said, oh no, they're going to get blown up because John Bolton's there. He's not a smart guy, but he could be a very unpatriotic guy. I mean, we're going to find out. I know nothing about it. I just saw it this morning. They did a raid.
Do you expect the DOJ to brief you on this?
Yeah, they'll brief me, probably today sometime.
And the foreign minister.
I tell Pam and I tell the group, I don't want to know about it. Just, you have to do what you have to do. I don't want to know about it. It's not necessary. I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer, but I feel that it's better this way.
Foreign Minister Lavrov said no meeting is planned right now between Putin and Zelensky. Absent that meeting, what are the next steps in your view?
Well, we'll see. We're going to see if Putin and Zelensky will be working together. You know, that's like oil and vinegar a little bit. They don't get along too well for obvious reasons, but we'll see. And then we'll see whether or not I would have to be there. I'd rather not. I'd rather have them have a meeting and see how they can do. But in the meantime, they continue to fight and they continue to kill people, which is very stupid, because they're losing 7,000 people now. I used to tell you 5, now they're losing 7,000 people a day. 7,000 people a week. They're losing, think of that, they're losing 7,000 people on average a week, mostly soldiers. So we want to see if we can stop it. I've stopped 7 wars. I'd like to make this one I thought would have been in the middle of the pack in terms of difficulty, and it's turning out to be the most difficult.
With the launching of the White House TikTok account, are you no longer concerned about privacy concerns or national security problems?
I'm really not. I think it's highly overrated. So TikTok, as you know, I used TikTok in the campaign. Some young guy named TikTok Jack. Then I won the young people by 36 points. No Republican ever wins the young people, and I won it by a lot. And I'm a fan of TikTok. My kids like TikTok. Young people love TikTok. If we can keep it going, good. And we're going to watch the security concerns. And we have buyers, American buyers. We have American buyers. And I haven't spoken to President Xi about it. At the right time when we're set, I'll do it. In the meantime, until the complexity of things work out, we just extend a little bit longer. But we have buyers. We have very substantial American buyers that want to buy it.
President Trump, would you like Congress to give you more control over DC when they return from recess?
Look, DC is a miracle what's happened. I mean, they can come up with fake numbers like the mayor is doing. Oh, no, it was going down for 20 years. You didn't live here. You know, have you been mugged, okay? DC was a hellhole, and now it's safe. And in fact, I put out this morning, I said, I hate to say this because it doesn't sound very good, but there have been no murders in DC in the last week. That's the first time in anybody's memory that you haven't had a murder in a week. And I think the mayor has to get on the ball because we have a situation, and she's a nice woman, but I'll tell you what, she's got to get on the ball. We have, I don't want to see phony numbers. DC hit an all-time high last year of absolute total crime. And it continued pretty bad. And then we put some strength into it, got the numbers down a little bit, but we brought in the DC National Guard, and we coupled them with the police, and it has been amazing. I have friends that live here, people that work in the White House, but I have friends that live here. They're all going out to dinner now. They haven't gone out in years. One man, I told this story yesterday when we were with the police and with the National Guard. We had a great little celebration, brought them hamburgers, brought them pizza, but we were with them, and I told the story about one friend hasn't been out in 4 years to a restaurant, and now he's been out 4 nights in a row. He called me this morning, by the way. He said it's so safe. He feels like totally safe. He can walk. He's got a 10-block walk. He walks it. He wouldn't have walked those 10 blocks. He said it would be a chain of hell, he called it. He said it was just horrible. He had no chance of making it to the 10th block. And the mayor has to admit that. She can't say it was just like it hasn't been clean. Now it's going to be clean. I'm giving out a contract very soon. Susie's with me. We're going to be raising about $2 billion from Congress. And Congress is happy to do it. And we're going to wisely spend the money. We're doing it with Clark Construction. We're going to head out right from the Capitol and the White House. And if you look at a circle and go about 3 miles out, it's going to be beautiful. All those light poles, see the poles, they're rusting, and they got different lenses on top, if you look. I mean, just looking at so many different problems. And we're going to have this place beautified within a period of 12 months. The streets are going to be retopped, not ripped up and rebuilt, and they're no good after they rebuild them because they start settling. We're going to take off the asphalt and put beautiful, well-done asphalt. You know, if you have a good asphalt worker, it's the greatest thing you can have, but there aren't too many of them. But I know all the good contractors. So this place will be beautified within a period of months. So it'll be safe and beautified. And then the big question is, how long do we stay? Because if we stay, we want to make sure it doesn't come back. So we have to take care of these criminals and get them out of here. We've collected hundreds of career criminals. These are career criminals. You're not going to teach them to be nice. These are probably born that way. I don't know. But they're career criminals. They're very, very dangerous people. They would love to be with you for a little while. They'd slap you around. But I'd put my money on this guy. He'd take them. Right? He'd take them down so quickly. He's saying, I don't want any part of it. No, people don't want to be that. And we have over 1,000 arrests. We're taking career criminals off the streets. It's my ambition that when we're complete, we can take everybody out and you have a great capital. But people are so happy, and I don't know where they get the polls. I see polls that they're 90% in favor of what I'm doing, and then you turn to CNN, which is fake news and nobody watches it, or MSDNC, MSNBC, they changed their name now because they were so bad. But they're the worst, owned by Comcast, run by a guy named Brian Roberts, who doesn't have a clue. He's terrible, terrible manager. But they're not, I don't think, selling it. They're changing the name because they're ashamed of it, and they're disassociating it from NBC, which is also fake news. You know, they should be ashamed of that too. But a lot of fake news. I think the news is getting better. They're learning that they have no credibility. ABC, CBS was just sold to a great person that I know very well, a great man. He actually just bought CBS, and I think he's going to do the right thing with it. NBC is run terribly by Comcast. I call it Comcast because it's a whole con. And you're going to see some things happening. I think you're going to see some just amazing things happening. But to me, DC is very exciting. And a lot of people say, well, where's he going from there? Well, I have calls from politicians begging me to go to Chicago, begging me to go to New York, begging me to go to Los Angeles. And if we didn't go to Los Angeles with Newsom, they run it so badly, I don't think we would have been able to have the Olympics. They would have ripped down that city. We went there and it stopped day one. And the chief of police in Los Angeles, when they asked him the question, he said, thank God they came, because we could not have handled what was happening. We went in, we stopped it, and that was it. So they needed help. They don't like to say it. I wish they'd say, I need help. I wish the mayor of DC would say, you know, we're overridden with crime and we need help, instead of saying the stats are down. I mean, they're under investigation now for fake numbers, where they fudged their numbers. And they did, there's no question about it. They said, oh, we're on a downtrend for 20 years. No, they're on an uptrend for 20 years. We are going to make DC totally safe. When people come from Iowa, Indiana, all of the beautiful places, and they're not going to go home in a body bag. They're not going home in a coffin. And it's very safe right now. There's been no murders since I started. And, you know, it's a terrible thing to say. Who would think that you have to say that there have been no murders? It's terrible. I wrote it this morning. I said, it's hard to say this, but it's actually good news, but it's a hell of a thing to say. There have been no murders in the last week. And nobody can remember the last time that this happened. And there won't be murders because all the thugs are hiding, or they're being sent back to their countries, or they're in jail. And it'll only get better. But we're also doing the beautification, and I just wanted to see the store because they have done a fantastic job. It's memorabilia, it's beautiful books and beautiful everything. It's really, I think the fake news ought to go in and buy some stuff and make happy. I'd pay it, but then you say I'm trying to pay you off, so I don't want to do it. I'd pay the price, but if I did that, Margot, they'd say, he's trying to pay us off, and with the fake news, we can't be bought off. So anyway, so I just want to thank you all. We're going now, and I don't know if you're following. Are you following? We'll have a stop at the really beautiful, what will be beautiful. Right now, I can't use bad language, but it's been so badly run. And they built these cubes outside, and there's stairways that go down to little rooms that nobody uses. It's so crazy what they did. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars. It's like throwing money out the window. They built cubes. All it does is block off the view. So I'm either going to use those cubes as a platform. You know, they go down to little stages, but nobody uses it. And we're taking care of our big, beautiful stages that people really want. And we have artists from all over the world wanting to come. I think we're signing the World Cup. The World Cup's going to have its primary office in the Kennedy Center. And again, I want to thank our board of the Kennedy Center. They have been absolutely incredible. But you may get a chance to see what we're going to do a little bit. I'll show you beautiful slabs of marble that, for the sake of cleaning and grouting, would look like they got put in yesterday by a top marble smith. So I want to thank you all, and I'll see you in 15 minutes, okay? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Sorry, I'm finding new equipment here. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. As we mentioned, we're starting with our guests. So our guests, we have two guests who are joining us virtually. We have Rain Paulson, who is the Food and Agriculture Organization's Director of Office of Emergencies and Resilience. He's joining us, if I'm not mistaken, from Rome. Also joining us from Rome is Jean-Martin Bauer, who is WFP's Director of Food Security and Nutrition Analysis Service. And we have here in person from UNICEF, we have Samir El-Hawari, who is the Acting Deputy Director of Emergency Programs. And they will brief you. I think the subject of today's briefing is a secret to no one. They will brief you on the findings of the IPC report on Gaza. So let me start right away and give the floor to FAO, to Rain. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. I hope you hear me well.
Yes.
Thank you. The analysis released today by the IPC is the latest acute food security and malnutrition analysis covering the Gaza Strip. It confirms the worst case scenario of famine is now occurring. Currently, famine, IPC Phase 5, exists in Gaza Governorate, and across the Gaza Strip as a whole, over 500,000 people are facing catastrophic conditions. And another just over 1 million people, some 54% of the population, are facing what's classified as emergency phase 4. By the end of September this year, September 2025, famine is projected to further expand to the governorates of Deir el-Balah and Khan Yunis. And during this period, a third of the population of the Gaza Strip, nearly 641,000 people, are expected to face catastrophic conditions, IPC Phase 5, while the number in emergency Phase 4 will likely increase to some 1.14 million people. I would also flag that conditions in the North Gaza Governorate, with an estimated population of about 120,000 people, are estimated to be as severe, if not worse, than in Gaza Governorate. But limited data prevents classification and inclusion in the report, highlighting the urgent need for access and comprehensive assessments there also. In IPC Phase 5, livelihoods have collapsed. People's lives and futures have been lost. The social safety nets and networks have been severely disrupted. Widespread malnutrition, untreated illness, collapsing health and food systems, deteriorating water, sanitation, and hygiene conditions are all resulting in extreme conditions and excess mortalities. As a reminder, classifying famine means that the most extreme category is triggered when 3 thresholds are crossed. Those are extreme food deprivation or starvation, acute malnutrition, and that starvation-related deaths have also passed the emergency threshold. The latest analysis now affirms, on the basis of reasonable evidence, that these criteria have been met. And just by way of comparison, the IPC special snapshot, which was released in October 2024, so almost a year ago and a year into the conflict, had people in catastrophic conditions numbered at some 133,000. Today, and through the projection period to the end of September, this number is estimated to reach, as I said, over 641,000 people. A few points quickly on drivers. The first driver, the key driver, of course, is conflict, the first cause of the famine. Alternating periods of escalation and limited periods of reduced intensity, as well as intensification of tensions and civil unrest, are likely to persist at least through September, the period covered in the projection for the report. Displacement and restricted access are 2 other key drivers, and my colleagues online may speak more to those points. I wanted to highlight in a bit more detail the fourth key driver, which is the collapse of food systems as outlined in the analysis. FAO has been continuously monitoring the status of food systems in Gaza, with the most recent assessment revealing that 98.5% of cropland has either been destroyed or is now inaccessible for cultivation. Livestock has been decimated, and fishing activities are banned. Much of the infrastructure essential for the flow and storage of food imports has been severely damaged or destroyed, and this in a place which was previously self-sufficient in many food commodities. The agriculture sector has been decimated and local food production halted, leaving people almost entirely dependent on food aid. Cash is critically scarce, and soaring market prices have rendered the limited food that is available unaffordable for most households. Since mid-March, access to both humanitarian and commercial supplies of food and other essential goods, including water, medicine, shelter, and fuel, has remained critically restricted. Let me just say that in terms of process, having shared some of the headline findings, that this latest IPC analysis was conducted by 50 experts from 19 organizations. It looked at the period with data and information available from the 1st of July through to the 15th of August, which was the cutoff point, analyzing both the current situation and also giving projections through the 30th of September this year. The IPC analysis for the Gaza Strip followed all 13 IPC protocols and the guiding principles that are fully articulated in the technical manuals, and it applied standard IPC quality assurance mechanisms to ensure technical rigor and neutrality of analysis. The Famine Review Committee, composed of world-leading experts in the areas of food security, livelihoods, nutrition, and health, was activated on the 4th of August and conducted an independent review to ensure that technical rigor and the neutrality of the analysis before the results that you now see online were confirmed and communicated. IPC partners have been monitoring the food security situation in the Gaza Strip with real concern since late 2023 and repeatedly warned about the catastrophic food security situation created by the conflict and its escalation. In fact, this is the 6th IPC analysis produced over the last 22 months. IPC partners have warned of famine risk in the Gaza Strip throughout 2024. And the IPC alert on the 29th of July this year already indicated an acceleration of the descent towards famine, with acute malnutrition breaching IPC Phase 5 thresholds, and the predicted scenario that has been validated today. Before handing to my colleagues for their additional complementary information and comments, let me just make one key point. This latest analysis outlines in clear detail the scale, the nature, and the magnitude of the famine unfolding. And I would simply stress and underscore that the message of the analysis that you read in the report is that we are in a race against time, that every effort must be made for immediate and decisive action to prevent further loss of life and alleviate suffering. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me now give the floor to Jean-Martin from WFP.
Thank you. I'd like to compliment my colleague Rain by saying that since the end of 2023, various IPC analyses have talked about a risk of famine. Famine is no longer a risk in the Gaza Strip. It's become a reality in Gaza Governorate, according to this release. Now, what we have is extreme food deprivation, widespread acute malnutrition, and starvation-related deaths, and that should all make us pause. I would say that this is when a famine is confirmed, it also means that we're not just in an extreme food crisis. It means we've crossed a tipping point. We're not in a mathematical problem where we can say that X money or X $1 million or Y trucks will solve this problem. The problem becomes much more complex, especially in the case of the exponentially rising number of people facing malnutrition. I know my colleague from UNICEF will elaborate on that. IPC is the most rigorous system we have. It's consensus-based. Its classification is based on the best possible evidence. What I would like to stress is one of the recommendations from the FRC. The FRC also released a report at the same time as the IPC snapshot, according to which we need to safeguard data systems. We need to safeguard information systems in Gaza, because these are the systems that produce the evidence that we will need to understand the situation on the ground and to guide the humanitarian response. It is vital to ensure that the data keeps flowing and that we continue having information from the ground in Gaza. What we're witnessing right now is the most significant deterioration of food security conditions and nutrition conditions since the IPC began its analysis of Gaza. Since the IPC itself was created more than 20 years ago, this is only the 5th time that there's been a famine confirmation. There was a 2011 in Somalia, 2017 in South Sudan, 2020 for South Sudan again, and then in 2024 for Sudan. So this is an historic moment. We also have 2 concurrent famines, Gaza and Sudan. So to have 2 famines at the same time, that's something that's absolutely unprecedented. And what this also constitutes is the first famine that has been confirmed in the case of the Middle East. What we have in Gaza right now demands a response on a scale and urgency we have not seen before. Thank you.
Samir from UNICEF.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, and thank you, Raina and Jean-Martin. As my colleagues have highlighted, the IPC's confirmation of famine conditions in Gaza Governorate and its projections of its spread really mark a tragic and devastating milestone for children. Within this humanitarian emergency in Gaza, there's a real child survival crisis. We're seeing malnutrition accelerating at a catastrophic pace, and for many, far too many children, it's already too late. We've been warning for months that the denial of humanitarian assistance would push children in Gaza to dangerous levels of food poverty. The signs were unmistakable. Children with wasted bodies, too weak to cry or to eat, babies dying of hunger and preventable disease, and parents arriving at clinics without enough food to feed their children. Today's report confirms our worst fears that children's diets have collapsed, with basic nutrition out of reach for most. The consequences are immediate, with wasting, disease, and in far too many cases, death. Last month alone, approximately 13,000 children in Gaza were identified as acutely malnourished. That's the highest monthly figure ever recorded since the beginning of the war, and it's a 6-fold increase since the beginning of this year. Nearly 1 in 4 of these children are suffering from severe acute malnutrition, which is the deadliest form of malnutrition and can result in death if not treated. Now, behind these numbers are real suffering and lives shattered. Children like 2-year-old Mariam, who my colleagues met at Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis, visibly exhausted, weighing less than half the average for her age, and her mother alarmed at her deterioration over the last few months. And it's important to emphasize that children are starving not because food doesn't exist, but because aid cannot reach them in time. They are additionally vulnerable as the health system is collapsing, safe water is scarce, and diseases like diarrhea and respiratory infections, which are normally mild for most children, are now life-threatening due to malnutrition. Mothers are facing impossible choices. Yesterday, my colleagues met with a mother, Atwa, in Deir Balah, 7 months pregnant, malnourished, with a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. The 1-year-old boy is malnourished because Atwa has little food ability to feed her child, let alone herself. As a result, in June and July, nearly 40% of pregnant and breastfeeding women are estimated to be acutely malnourished, with 1 in 5 babies born underweight or prematurely. Now, despite these overwhelming needs, access has remained dangerously constrained in Gaza today. The nutritious supplies that UNICEF has been able to bring in over the last few weeks, including infant formula and therapeutic food, are only enough for a few thousand people for less than 1 month. So nowhere near enough to be able to scale up and respond to the overwhelming need. We cannot let famine become a death sentence for more of Gaza's children. This is not inevitable, and as we saw during the ceasefire in February earlier this year, when access improves, lives can be saved. So what do children in Gaza need today? Well, it's simple. 1 is an immediate and sustained ceasefire, including the release of all hostages, safe and unimpeded humanitarian access for the delivery of multi-sector humanitarian aid and services, but also commercial supplies, both at scale and across all governorates, and immediate actions to ensure their protection, safety and well-being in line with their obligations under international humanitarian law. As my colleague Rain highlighted, this really is a race against time, against starvation, and every hour matters. Now we must collectively act to protect the youngest victims of this conflict. Their survival ultimately depends on the political will to immediately avert what is a man-made crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. Let us now turn to questions. I will start with Edie. Please tell us also who you are addressing your question to.
Thank you all very much on behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association for doing this briefing. My name is Edith Lederer from the Associated Press. And I have two questions, and whoever feels like answering is fine. First, does the confirmation of famine change anything? And secondly, what is the plan if Israel takes Gaza City? How can the United Nations help thousands of people who are going to be forced to flee? And has there been any discussion about this with the Israelis? Thank you.
Who would like to take this one first? Jean-Martin, go ahead.
So I will get started, and hello, Edith. I like to say that this declaration of famine is important because it puts a number on a problem that we've talked about for a long time. This is about the evidence that we have at hand. We've talked about a risk of famine for quite some time. Rain said that this is the sixth time there's an analysis published by the IPC during this crisis. The fact that we're now able to confirm that a famine is now taking place is significant in its own right because we're all here today. We're talking about the problem, and hopefully that will prompt action. But of course, a famine declaration is only significant insofar as it drives action. And what we hope today is that the attention of the world is once again on Gaza to support the response that's so needed.
Thank you. Rain or Samir, do you want to add something?
Maybe if I could just quickly to say that I hope those in the room and those online and different stakeholders take time not just to read the analysis, but read also the recommendations that accompany the analysis. Reference was made to some of those already, but really to the point that Jean-Martin was making, we hope that this confirmation of famine makes a change. It needs to make a change, and the recommendations for practical actions to help avoid further loss of life are listed in the report, and we really do hope there is now a greater will to act on those. That would be what I'd add. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Go ahead, Samir.
And just to emphasize that, of course, we're concerned that potential escalations of the conflicts and violence, especially in locations where famine has been declared. As the report highlights, that most people in Gaza have already been displaced multiple times. There's very little access to services in different locations, and therefore, at the moment, we should be calling for a ceasefire and for a huge scale-up of assistance, including in Gaza City and in the Gaza government, to be able to respond to the impact of the famine.
Deji?
Yes, this is Shudeju with China Central Television. Today, KOGAT released a statement denying the IPC reports that it's based on partial and unreliable sources, many of them affiliated with Hamas, and blatantly ignores the facts and the extensive humanitarian efforts led by the State of Israel and its international partners. Just curious how to respond to this. And another thing is, we obviously know there's Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. They claim they have millions of meals has been distributed. Has that been taken into consideration in this IPC report, or even at the GHF efforts, the humanitarian situation is still this bad? Thank you.
Who would like to go first? Go ahead.
And here in New York as well, this morning, Mata Pobi, the Assistant Secretary General for Africa, briefed the Security Council on the situation in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. She noted encouraging progress in recent months, notably the signing of the peace agreement between the DRC and Rwanda, as well as the declaration of principles between the government of the DRC and the M23. She expressed appreciation for all the efforts of the United States and Qatar to bring peace to the DRC. She also noted the efforts of the East African Community, the South African Development Community, and the African Union, adding that the UN is providing support where needed. Regrettably, Mr. Pobi said, the evolution of the security situation on the ground has not matched the progress achieved on the diplomatic front. She told council members that the number of civilians casualties has risen dramatically. Humanitarian workers are risking their lives to provide limited assistance to a population whose needs continue to grow. Conflict-related sexual violence persists amid general indifference. The forced recruitment of children continues. At this critical moment for the country and the region, Ms. Pobi said it's vital that the Security Council place its full weight behind current peace efforts and exerts its influence to ensure respect for all and compliance with Resolution 2773. All parties must live up to their commitments and obligations. She concluded that while the situation on the ground remains dire, there is every reason to hope that with the genuine engagement of the parties and the concerted support of the international community, peace for the people of the Eastern DRC is possible. And also on the Security Council yesterday afternoon, as you know, there was a briefing on the UN support mission in Libya. Hamatet, the special representative of the Secretary General for Libya and head of the mission, briefed council members, mentioning that 26 Libyan municipalities successfully went to the polls on 16th of August in spite of some significant challenges. She called on all candidates to accept the election results as the choices made by their voters. Ms. Tete pointed out that the economic situation in Libya remains dire and the security situation in the country also remains volatile, with increasing militarization of all sides. She urged representatives of both sides to resolve their outstanding issues through dialogue and not to make demands to each other that could amount to provocation. Both remarks have been shared with you, the ones on Libya and also the ones on the DRC. And the World Health Organization and the World Meteorological Organization today published a joint report and guidance highlighting the growing global health challenges posed by extreme heat on workers. The report notes that as climate change drives more frequent and intense heat waves, many workers who are regularly exposed to dangerous heat conditions are already feeling the heat impacts of rising temperatures. WMO noted that 2024 was the hottest year on record. Daytime temperatures of more than 40 degrees Celsius and even above 50 degrees Celsius are becoming increasingly common, a clear indication that immediate action is needed to address the worsening impact of heat stress on workers worldwide. The report is available online. And I have a senior personal announcement for you. Today, the Secretary General is appointing Chalok Beyani of Zambia as the Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide. He succeeds Alice Nderitu of Kenya, to whom the Secretary General is grateful for her services. The Secretary General also wishes to extend his appreciation to Virginia Gamba, former Special Representative of the Secretary General for Children in Armed Conflict, and Pramila Patan, Special Representative of the Secretary General on Sexual Violence and Conflict, who have been serving as acting Special Advisor on the prevention of genocide. Ms. Patton will continue to serve as acting Special Advisor until Mr. Bayani assumes his position. Currently an Associate Professor of International Law in the Law Department of London School of Economics and Political Science, Mr. Bayani brings practical legal, diplomatic, and political experience in international law and human rights, including national constitutions and treaty making. There's more information online. And I have one last note. We have a couple of international days to flag. Today is the International Day commemorating the victims of acts of violence based on religion or belief. In his message for the day, the Secretary General says that around the world, individuals and communities face violence based on religion or beliefs, stressing that we must confront this threat head-on and stand together to build a world where diversity is celebrated and everyone can live in safety and dignity. And tomorrow is the International Day for Remembrance of the Slave Trade and its abolition. It's a day that's intended to inscribe the tragedy of the slave trade in the memory of all people. Okay, that's it from me. Do we have any questions today? Oh, I was thinking I almost thought I was going to waive this on Friday. Please, go ahead.
Hi, so it's Eric with Kyoto News, Japanese News Wire.
Thank you.
Does the SG plan any actions in response to these two concurrent famines that the IPC has raised?
What I have on the SG is what I told you that he said on his statement, okay? But I think this is just another reminder of what we have been saying here from this podium for months, that we need this conflict to stop. Okay, we need people to stop the guns, and we need unimpeded humanitarian access to Gaza, of all the crossings open, and also, like he said on his statement, the unconditional release of the hostages.
Is he considering, for example, a meeting of the Security Council, calling for one?
I don't have any information on that at this point. Do we have any other further questions? No? Okay, so have a good afternoon, everyone, and not so happy, but and enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much, everyone.